Hello, viewers, and welcome to today's episode of Disappointed Dragon, an episode that I am very, very excited for. You can see it in the back here, I've got a box, but what could be in this box? Well, for people who don't know of the massive craze about 10 years ago, Loot Crate and 1UpBox and all other sorts of subscription services were all over the place. What would happen is you would pay a subscription fee to have them send you a box of mystery items once a month. Loot Crate was the first big one. It was actually the first one that I got myself. I did it for about a year or so, and it was really interesting. It would usually be based on some kind of theme, something nerdy normally, anime, video games, movie franchises, you name it. It was really neat. The problem was it was ridiculously expensive, especially for someone living in Canada or the UK, because of course they were shipping from the United States. The box itself was supposed to be fairly cheap, about $20-ish American, but after shipping, it usually ended up being close to $50 Canadian. So it just was not feasible to continue doing for a long period of time, and unfortunately, Loot Crate no longer exists. I'm actually not sure if any of the other ones still exist, to be honest. I know that there are still subscription services, but I believe they've mostly moved to food-type things like Munch Crate and things like that. I know I still see the food ones advertised on people's channels all the time. I believe Boxu is a very popular one that has treats in it, but not one I've tried. I actually like having physical things, not something that I'm going to eat immediately and never see again. But along those lines, I have not gotten a subscription service in a very, very long time. However, I have seen this particular one advertised on my Facebook for several years, and I've been following their channel, always thinking to myself, well, one day I'll give it a try. And you know what? Today is that day. Now, this one is actually from a company called Retro Gaming Treasures, which, as I'm sure you can guess from the name, delivers retro games. So what it is you pick video game systems from their list that you own, game genres that you enjoy, and games that you already have, and each month they will send you a number of games based off of your selections. They even have a list of, what do they call it, the Hall of Shame, which are games that are universally panned that they will never ever include in a crate. They've promised that. So Superman 64, a couple of other games that just nobody likes. You'll never get those. They try to give you, I can't remember what the exact value is. I believe it was about a little bit more than the price of the crate they'll give you every month, and you can ask for specific games, but of course, if you ask for rare games, you'll get less in the box. I specifically selected the original Game Boy, the DMG, the Game Boy Color, and the Super Nintendo, as the original Game Boy was the first game system I ever personally owned, and the one I actually had the longest, and Super Nintendo is probably my favorite console. Game Boy Color also just because I enjoy a lot of the Game Boy Color games. They have a really great library. Same with the DMG. They're fantastic. So I have no idea what's inside. I haven't looked. The box itself is kind of cool. You can see it's in the shape of a treasure chest, which is neat. The Loot Crates used to do things like this too that have a fancy box, but yeah, I'm expecting something really cool in here. I've seen a couple of demonstration kits on their Facebook page, and they all look pretty good. So let's see. And I did put a couple of games on my wish list. I put a bunch of the Earthworm Jim games. There was one for the original Game Boy, one for Super Nintendo, Secrets of Mana, because I've always wanted that game. And I think there was one other game I put on there, but I can't remember what it was. Oh, yes, the second Kirby game for the original Game Boy, because it was a really, really good game, and I don't yet have it. So I'm very excited to see what we have. If possible, I will try to record some gameplay of the games on my computer, because I have a way of hooking up older systems to it. If possible, I can do it for any of them except for Game Boy Color. So if we get some Game Boy Color, might not be able to do those, but we'll take a look. All right, that's enough prevaricating. Let's open up. I haven't actually cut the plastic yet. I'm very excited to see what's in this. Let's find out together. All right. So right off the bat, here's a few tips. It says, post your treasure picks and earn extra entries in our Boss Chest giveaways. We guarantee your games arrive working. Just email us if you have any issues. Stay retro, buck the megabuck. And then there's the website. Got some bubble wrap, so it's well packed. Oh, we've got these air cushions, which are always really fun to pop really loudly, which I won't do, so don't worry about that. And of course, there's a website there. All right, let's take a look at what we've got inside. The first thing is a Game Boy Color game, which is Yu-Gi-Oh! Dark Duel Stories, a game that I definitely don't have, but is a game that I will actually very much enjoy playing. Unfortunately, because of the way I'm going to be recording these, I won't be able to show you any gameplay footage of this one of my own, so I'll try to put in some footage at the end that I'll find to just give you guys an idea. But love Yu-Gi-Oh! Been playing it 20 plus years at this point. Great card game. Have never played this game. I'm very much looking forward to this. In fact, this is the game I believe that came with the promo god cards back in the day, DDS. Yeah, that's really cool. This game would have been bought specifically for those cards, which are actually worth way more than the game is now, I'd wager. And that's very interesting. All right, let's see what we've got next. Next, we have... Kirby's Avalanche for Super Nintendo. Another game I've never played. This one will put some gameplay footage at the end as well. I'm very much looking forward to playing this. I love Kirby games. One of the games I played the most on my DMG was the one I just mentioned that was on my wish list. The Kirby's, I believe it's called Kirby's Dream Land 2. Can't remember the exact title, but it was had like a top-down world view that you could go and select levels. You had companions. You could ride on a hamster. You could go inside of a giant Magikarp to swim. It was really awesome. It was it had the ability steal ability in it as well, because the first game did not, and it's just really awesome. I'm looking forward to this. I think that this is probably a puzzle game. I'm gonna guess that it's similar to Pokemon Puzzle League, just based off of the shapes here. Looking forward to this. We'll get some gameplay at the end, and I'll come back after we've looked at the gameplay, and we'll talk about what I think of each of the games individually. To the side. And next, we have Tetris 2. All right, then. So that's obviously going to be Tetris, the strategy game, and this will be the second one, made in Japan. I've not played Tetris 2. Now, I've played Tetris 1 many, many times. Obviously, it was on the first Game Boy. I had it at the time. Really good game. It's very addictive. Tetris is one of those games that no matter how many times you've played it, it's just always fun to play. Not something I usually go out of my way to play these days, but I suspect that this will be good, and we'll give it a shot. I believe that's all we have in there. So it says that you normally get between 3 to 5 games, it says on the website, and that's pretty good. So I ended up paying about... what did I end up paying for this? Unfortunately, the shipping issues still exist between Canada and the US, so I did have to pay a bit in shipping, but I think I paid overall about... what was it? It was 52 Canadian dollars for this. So not bad for 2 Super Nintendo games and a Game Boy Color game. The second-hand market is quite difficult to get games through these days, so I feel like this is a good value for it. We'll get some gameplay in, and I'll come back afterwards and tell you what I thought of the games and which one's my favorite. So back after that footage. So I apologize for the bad quality, but the only way I could record the Game Boy Color game was actually using my modded Game Boy Advance and holding it close to my camera screen. So the first game we're looking at, Yu-Gi-Oh! Dark Dueling Stories. It's a fairly bare bones version of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game. Really fun to play. Not a whole lot to it. As you can see here, I'm just putting in my username because I wanted to start a whole new game. It did actually take me a really long time to figure out how to erase the old save data. I had to turn the game off and on several times to figure it out. But once I got in, game's really simple. Only has a couple of different game modes. Went straight into campaign. You've got 5 duelists to choose from. I started with Tristan, because as everyone knows, he's the easiest duelist in the world to play against. Super basic game. You have a couple of options. You can modify your deck, but from what I've seen so far, all you've really got is monsters. You can summon them and attack each other. I'm sure the game gets more complicated than that, but from the beginning, the game was really fun. Typical Game Boy Color game. Got some really fun 8-bit pictures of monsters. Or I guess it would be 16-bit for this. Either way, color pictures of monsters. Really simple, fun version of Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot of fun to play. Really wish it had come with the God cards, but it didn't. At the same time, I had a lot of fun. Very happy to have it. Definitely worth playing. The only real issue I had is when you first start out, it's really hard to do 8k life points damage when your strongest monster is Kaminari Thunder with 700 attack points. Yeah, really good start. Really liked the game. So the second game we got, Tetris 2 for the Super Nintendo. I was expecting just a fancier version of Tetris, and I was not disappointed. Wonderful visuals, wonderful sound effects. Couple of options, one player versus... I started with medium, which was a mistake. I thought I was on easy. It's really just a more complicated version of Tetris. You not only have to match the shapes, but you also have to match the colors. I did not figure that out right away. I thought the colors were just there for decoration, and I did really poorly. As expected, very fun. If you like puzzle games, if you like Tetris, it's fantastic. I had a lot of fun playing it, even if I did not do very well. I ended up losing this game very badly. I'm not going to make you guys watch that because it makes me feel bad. But yeah, suffice to say, really fun. Music's great, visuals are fun. I had a lot of fun. The second interesting thing it had was a puzzle mode, which I did decide to try. I set it on auto. Now this is very interesting. You just have to try to solve to get rid of all the bricks on screen with the piece they give you. Very simple, a lot of fun. I actually found myself playing it for a lot longer than I needed to for the footage for this, because that's the kind of puzzles I love, where you have to try to solve something with limited information. Very addictive, very fun, and actually fairly difficult. I got stuck on it for quite a while on one of the early puzzles because I didn't understand all of the ways that the game works. It turns out that those flashing squares disappear if you get a match of that color. And because I didn't know that, because I didn't read the instructions, this one puzzle here took me far longer than it should have to figure out. But lots of fun, was not getting bored, and was not even getting really frustrated, which for me is a very good indication of a good game. Lots of fun, really glad to have it. And our third and final game we have from HAL Laboratories,
Kirby's Avalanche.
Kirby's Avalanche. So this was, as I expected, another puzzle game, which is fantastic. I asked for puzzle games, so it's one of the things I selected. This game is pretty much Pokemon Puzzle League, but on the Super Nintendo with Kirby characters. Again, lots of fun. You can play against your friends. If you like puzzles, if you like competitive puzzles, you're gonna love it. I'm not very good at these games. I only actually made it past stage 1, and I lost to the tree. So, you know, lots of fun. I'm gonna play a lot of this next time I have a friend over, and maybe I can convince them to play against me, and we'll see what happens. Maybe I can convince Valhalla and Smooth Brain to play. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Great visuals, fantastic soundtrack. I really enjoyed it. I didn't play a lot of these games when I was younger because I wasn't as into puzzles at the time, but now puzzles are one of my favorite things to play. Really great game. I'm really happy that I got something Kirby as well, because Kirby was one of the game franchises I put on my wish list, so I was very happy to see this. And I'm also really happy that none of the games were games I expected, but were all games that I will enjoy playing. So kudos on them for picking games in the genres and of the type that I would like. Yeah, the game itself, lots of fun. Works really well. And yeah, I just love the Super Nintendo. I love the visuals. I love the gameplay, everything about it. It's great. Well, now that we've seen some of the gameplay and heard my opinion of the games, what's my overall impression of the subscription service? I mean, I really liked it. There's something really nice about getting retro games specifically for the consoles you have, and specifically games you don't have. Since they allow you to tell you every single game that you own, there's very little chance of you getting any duplicates, which is fantastic. I liked all of the games. I'm a big fan of puzzle games, as I said when I was talking about the gameplay. They're very, very fun, fantastic. The value is about, I'd say for me to buy these in Canada, especially with the shipping involved, it would have cost me about $60, $70 to buy these 3 games and have them sent to me. So I did get them cheaper by buying them through the box. And of course, you get that nice little rush of endorphins from opening up a mystery box and getting something surprising. So I really liked it. I only got the one for now. Maybe in the future, when I've got a little bit of extra money kicking around, or I just really want some new games to play, we'll get another one, because I'm really happy with that. But anyways, that'll do it for this episode, guys. As always, stay happy, stay healthy, and play retro games if you can. They're fantastic. All right, bye.